kick set, where them hands, where them hoes, where them throws, you know what I'm saying? Cecil.
This is part 10. This is part 10 of Superhuman in the Octagon, Imperfect in the Courtroom, assessing the culpability of martial artists who killed during street fights. This legal comment is by Stephen Michael Ian Coonan. Okay, this is my commentary and reaction to it as a martial artist. I'm going to say right off, man, this right here is not necessarily true. It all depends upon the person's training. If they're not really training to recognize and diffuse threats of violence, to do de-escalation, then you can't just make a blanket statement saying that since the martial artist is primed to recognize and diffuse threats of violence. You don't know that. You don't know what kind of training that they have. You can't assume that just because they're martial artists that they're going to have this ability. It has to be taught, and then it has to be caught. So just making this blanket statement is ridiculous. There are a lot of schools that just focus on competition, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? But at the same time, I gotta say, you know, this is mainly to students out there. Because I can see it with my students. When I start talking to you, and I start telling you about how to recognize this, and let's try to de-escalate, and the fact that I'm wondering if this video series will even go viral, people are just not going to latch on to this or get this kind of training, okay? And there are a lot of people that just do it for self-improvement. They just do it because they just like going through the motions and trying to do the motions better. Not everybody is truly into martial arts for the self-protection. People do it for a bunch of different reasons. Some people even just do it for therapy and health, and that's fine. Okay? But, like I keep saying, I don't make the rules. I have to live with them. And here they go. Since the martial artist is primed to recognize and diffuse threats of violence, he should only be killing in objectively reasonable scenarios. Ordinary people who respond with unnecessary deadly force suffer a lapse in self-control, resulting in moral blameworthiness. A martial artist who does the same suffers a catastrophic failure of self-discipline and combat strategy. If a martial artist were to kill when it was objectively unreasonable to do so, he would have to control himself as much as he should have, as much as common experience would say he could have, and as much as an ordinary person would have. Moreover, he would have failed to control himself according to his training. This part compares traditional martial arts in Section A with mixed martial arts in Section B. Then Section C discusses the skills common to both martial arts. And Section D explains why the subjectivity will be useful to a jury in deciding whether to justify a martial artist defendant's treatment under a heightened standard. Traditional martial arts. This section describes the origins, philosophy, and training and method of traditional martial arts. Traditional martial arts are limited to specific fighting disciplines that exist independently of other fighting styles and carry with them techniques and traditions that are specified to the region and country from which they originated. Some arts have their origins in religion, and others were designed for warfare or personal self-defense, but most arts include a versatile array of skills, usually suitable for warfare. Traditional martial arts include karate, taekwondo, shotokan, and various styles of kung fu, and they all vary in their philosophical and cultural value systems and fighting styles. Students instructed in traditional martial arts are generally instructed to follow certain philosophical principles, including respecting the opponent, using skills responsibly, and avoiding confrontations when possible. Most traditional martial arts espouse the theory that the greater amount of skill one possesses, the less force one should use when defending against an attacker. It is not only a matter of skill, but also a matter of duty. One martial artist explained, as warriors, we have a moral obligation to attend to the cause of honor. We have a responsibility to see that justice is served in any way in which our duty leads us. The idea is that as the warrior grows stronger, he inherits the responsibility to become an ethical leader and to use his skills in a just manner to benefit society. He must not use his skills to terrorize weaker members of society. In addition to strong values, traditional martial arts, good grief. Oh, that's somebody commenting on one of my videos. In addition to strong values, traditional martial artists also strive to attain supreme self-control. Traditional martial arts worldwide utilize intense training methods that push a person's physical and mental abilities to the limit. The martial artist trains to see things in a moment, to avoid confrontation when possible, and when conflict arises, to summon the mental stability to take command of the situation. Oh, how I wish we could! One way of developing these abilities is by envisioning and practicing various situations in which one may be attacked, forms, and by formulating plans on how to survive, forms. As one martial artist notes, mental programming is an excellent tool for developing conceptual responses, but effective strategic planning isn't a head game alone. One has to translate those mental programs into physical reactions. That requires dedicated, repetitive practice. Forms. Martial artists also develop anticipatory senses by training to read an opponent's movements and also practice how to counterattack and practice how to counterattack they sense. One-step sparring. These responses are often taught, practiced, and further developed in a coordinated set of moves performed. This exercise is called kata. See? I was talking about it before they brought it up. We're going to stop here and continue.